Uncle Dan.
Hey, Uncle Doug.
How we doing?
Good, good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little loony.
A little loony?
Yeah,
I'm a little lunar tuner.
I'm a bit of a lunatic.
Yeah. Well, we covered on the show a while back the Hollow Earth.
Oh, did we?
We did. Uncle Mark did.
If you dig down,
yeah,
you get nothing.
The truth of the Hollow Earth. Yeah,
Like,
the truth of the Hollow Earth.
Not unlike my own soul.
Yeah.
If you dig down deep, there's nothing there.
Well, it turns
right.
out that there are other celestial bodies that might have an
The Hollow Dan.
Yes. Well, that's a totally different theory. But Uncle Mark, you have some more interesting knowledge about our solar system.
It's This Week in Hollow, fellas. It's our weekly installment. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a preamble to it, which is, the idea that the three of us, I hope anyway, like to pride ourselves as being healthy skeptics, right? And
healthy.
we try to, healthily skeptical, not in any
Oh,
other
yeah.
way.
not
Okay,
in,
good,
not in
good.
body. Okay.
Yeah, the rest because
Good
we're
Lord.
all letting our things go to shit right now.
I'm doing this from an iron lung, which is also hollow. So, young listeners, look that up. It was really a thing. It was awful. So
It's not the Radiohead album.
no. So we try to bring a skeptical approach to any major truth claims, and I feel like generally we try not to make claims ourselves without some good evidence to support them, including our Wonder Bible sponsorship.
Right.
And we're pretty suspicious of people who make major claims with no evidence. Except, shut up, that's what I believe, and you have to respect it. That's my freedom of speech.
Right.
Or something along those lines.
Exactly,
So
Uncle Doug.
Shut up.
You shut up.
It's what I
You
believe.
shut up. Guys, we talked about this in the meeting. So
That's right. Use
I
your
hate to
your fists, not your words.
I hate to malign anybody's application of the skeptical method. In fact, I would rather encourage anyone's casting a critical eye on some long-held belief and searching for the actual truth of a thing. However, skepticism can be misapplied or just stopped short.
Yeah.
Like leading to a rabbit hole of idiocy often deeper than the one the poor skeptic was trying to dig out of in the first place.
Right.
So we had an excellent conversation about this with Professor Jim in episode 4, where he talked about Occam's razor and Occam's younger cousin, Hanlon's razor. Mm-hmm. Well worth a listen for any budding skeptics out there. And since we're just over a month away from the 50th anniversary of a very amazing event, the first human beings walking on the surface of another fucking planet, that being our friendly neighborhood moon, I thought it was a fine time to dust off the fringe theorists' fringe theory, the hollow moon.
Oh boy.
Woohoo! Woohoo! And no, uncles, I shall not be talking about Brigham Young's dead certainty that he shared with Mormon church founder Joseph Smith that the moon was inhabited by industrious, long-living, and tall Quakers.
Yeah.
Nor the 1961 declaration by then Mormon apostle Joseph Fielding Smith that men would never walk on the moon. Again, he said this in 1961. But it is not these blockbuster truths revealed to his earthly mouthpieces in Salt Lake City I will be discussing. Today, dear uncles, it is the hollow moon.
Hurrah.
You see, according to a few, but not nearly few enough people, Neil Armstrong and interplanetary pugilist Buzz Aldrin were not walking on the dusty surface of a lifeless rock that daily tugs at our oceans. Tide goes in, tide goes out, never a miscommunication, right? But rather, they trod upon a dusty layer of camouflage, hiding the 20-mile-thick titanium hull of a cleverly hidden alien observatory sent from a place unknown for reasons unknown and inhabited by beings unknown, because why not?
All right.
Are you talking about the Death Star?
It's a base, yes.
Why
it's
not?
a Death Star. There, in a lot of these conspiracy websites, there's actually a GIF of Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "That's no moon."
No moon. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There you
Like
go.
they almost have a tiny bit of a sense of humor about it, but like most conspiracy theorists, they have no sense of humor about anything. So, uncles, yeah.
No. Go on.
I was going to say, we've tasted the coppery tinge of this derp a time or two before on our show with, as Doug mentioned at the top, crazy Rodney Clough, a good Mormon guy and a kindly anti-Semite, and the leading proponent of the hollow earth theory, as discussed in episode 52, and of course, the Kwisatz Haderach of the unified field theory of fringe dumbassery, David Icke, peace be upon him, who we met in episode 42, sitting on his hot rock.
Are you actually doing a thing this week, or are you just like sampling?
It's
from
a clip show.
shows?
Well, this is what's fucking hilarious is anytime you talk about conspiracy theory, it leads to all the others.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
like-
It really does. It's so funny.
It really does.
Time is a derp circle.
That's right.
Yeah,
All of the
exactly.
rabbit holes eventually lead to the same Warren.
But Doug, that circle is flat. Don't forget.
That's right.
And it won't surprise you to know that lizard hobbyist David Icke is very much a believer in the hollow moon.
Oh, right.
As he is in literally everything else scrawled on the walls of humanity's rubber room. He proposed that the hollow moon transmits what we call reality to Earth from the artificially engineered rings of Saturn, but the signal actually originates from both the constellation Draco and the lower fourth dimension. I would prove all this
Okay.
is the absolute truth, but it seems Uncle Dan has run out of chalk, which is rude.
And I've been trying to use it on a whiteboard, which the chalk just isn't working. So
Well, I was going to tell the list. Unfortunately, it's an audio medium, but the picture of Mohammed that he's drawn on the blackboard is a triumph.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
I couldn't erase that anyway. You really captured his nuptials with Aisha.
Uncle
right.
Doug does not condone the views of this podcast.
that's okay. He's not going to be on it for very long anyway.
However, this theory about our nightly visitor and orbital traveling companion, the moon, did not originate with the clownish Ike, but rather by two members of the Soviet Academy of Sciences, Michael Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov.
Oh.
And they theorized this in 1970, not even a full year after Neil and Buzz had actually walked on the moon. So good timing, I guess. Now, the Soviets, in addition to being straight-up ballers when it came to strapping handsome young farm boys to ginormous rockets and beating our asses into space, were also into some super weird shit. They had official training programs for paranormal abilities and ufology. I have a hard time saying that word. UFOlogy. Dan, you may not know that in 1991, Doug and I stayed with the family of a government-trained ufologist
did.
when we visited the USSR,
Oh my God.
and he told us some tidbits of his secret training.
Oh wow.
I'd kind of forgotten about that, Doug, until I was
had
reading
it,
this.
right until you brought that up, I'd forgotten about
Are
it.
you
too.
still in contact? We need to reestablish contact with this guy.
Let me establish mental contact with him right now.
Yeah. We barely had contact with him while we were there, but that's another story. And according to skeptical author Jason Colavito, there was a propaganda push in the Soviet Union for the ancient astronauts theory, such as those in Erich von Däniken's Chariots of the Gods, as a way to counter the religious explanations for the creation of the world and all the life on it that was common in the decadent West. So they were really pushing this. So for the first and last time ever, ridiculous balderdash disseminated as part of a Russian disinformation campaign caught traction with soft-brained Americans. That's one for the history books, fellas.
Yeah,
God, that never happened again.
Never heard of that.
Yep.
But I mean, it's a scary thing. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it can't happen now.
And I, for one, would
Yeah.
like to welcome our new Soviet overlords.
That's right.
But why has this insanity caught hold of some vulnerable people's fever dreams? And is it just to fill an hour a week on the criminally misnamed History Channel? Well, like all conspiracy theories, it has some underlying mysteries and anomalies. The moon has what's called asynchronous or tidally locked orbit, as anyone who's ever looked at it will know, which means it only ever shows us its one side. It's a little odd.
What is it hiding? Really?
What is it hiding? Our monoatomic gold. It has a lower density than Earth, so okay. There's a higher than expected titanium presence in its rock samples.
There you
Copy
go.
high titanium. NASA crashed a thing into it, and the seismometers picked up weird vibrations and a ringing sound, which, okay, that's odd. I can see why people think that's not normal for a moon.
Yeah.
But what is normal for a moon?
Yeah, exactly.
There are 193 things we describe as moons in this solar system. Jupiter, that big moon hog, has 79 of them.
Yeah.
Some moons are huge, and some are very tiny. Some appear to be just cold, dead rock. Some have active volcanoes. At least one we know of has an ice crust over a massive global ocean, and at least 25 of them are believed to be tidally locked to their planet, just like our moon is. So,
And Mercury.
and we know all this. Actually, I just read that Mercury is not tidally locked. That
What?
its orbit.
oh, I think
No.
I read this too. It's really, really slow, right?
And we only see the one side of it in its rotation, but it is actually rotating as it goes around the sun. So,
None of this makes any sense.
Doug, you're wrong.
So
anyway,
is the
Cody-
only
Cody, cut
really
that out.
important question about Mercury is whether or not it's retrograde, because
Yes.
then we know how everybody's going to act for
And-
a week or something.
Is it hollow?
Also,
Because of course, it's hollow.
It's
because I'm
obviously
having
hollow.
a case of the Mondays, so it's in retrograde. So, and we know all this about the moon, all these moons, even though we've only bodily visited one of them. So, in this tiny sample size, what the fuck is normal for a moon? It's a bit less dense than its neighbor, and it's just the right size to perfectly hide the sun in an eclipse. Okay, fuck it, I'm convinced that this is the only possible explanation, is that it's a hollow spaceship sent from other place to do something.
right,
Obviously.
and
Get moon woke, sheeple.
their mission, which only lasts a mere 30 million years or something like that.
Billions of years. So I found a debunking of an article originally published last year on a site called Mysterious Earth, titled CIA Releases Documents of Moon. Moon has 250 million citizens.
Yeah,
For some reason, I find citizens a funny choice rather than inhabitants. Like they all have moon birth certificates or something.
they
But
do. They do. They have, but it is so hard to get that moon passport. You just
Moon
can't.
citizen.
You cannot get off of that.
You have to start with a moon visa.
Yeah.
And it bears noting that this site is no longer there. So take from that what you will.
You know
But-
what? That only goes to prove the conspiracy.
That's precisely right.
As
But
does anything that happens will serve to prove the conspiracy, no matter what.
It's
happens.
proof of,
Right.
not proof against.
Right.
But the debunking talks about the common fallacy employed by half-cocked conspiracy theorists called appeal to possibility, meaning that because a thing is theoretically possible, it therefore must be true. Which, dear listener, if you follow all the way to the end, means every fucking thing is true because in theory, nothing is totally impossible. So
Except,
what's so
except
vexing.
Doug in a stable relationship. Ba-boom!
hollow Doug. So that's what's
that's
so
not a
vexing
theory.
I'm
That's
not
a law.
hollow, I'm full of whiskey.
That's what's so vexing about people all tangled up in conspiracy theories, as we talked about at length with Michael Marsh in episode 78 when we were discussing the conspiratorial mindset. Everything is possible, and therefore it's all basically true. So you rarely find a flat earther or hollow mooner who stops there.
Right,
You know,
right.
that leads to 9/11 truthing, which leads to anti-vaxxing, which leads to QAnon and Hillary Clinton running a global child sex trafficking ring out of the basement of a pizza place with no basement.
And who is Joy Behar really? Can we get to the bottom of this? God damn it.
Just a quick note for any QAnon listeners out there. There actually is a massive international pedophile syndicate. It's called the Vatican.
Right.
And you can get mad about that if you want. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so that leads to
break
lizard
into
people
that.
and break into the basement of the Vatican. Oh, my God, can you imagine what's going on down there? So, you know, all this leads to lizard people, and then, of course, ultimately, the Jews.
The Jews, right. Of course.
All conspiracy theory roads lead to Jerusalem for some reason. So, and we probably all know somebody who watched Loose Change and they just disappeared into a fog of paranoia and credulity forever. You know, we all have that guy at work that just was never the same again. So, for a certain mindset, conspiracy theories have such a strong appeal. If you hate elites and are sick of, you know, quote, experts and, quote, college professors acting like they know everything, and maybe you've been left behind socially or economically, you know, to suddenly believe that, no, it's actually you that has special knowledge, that they're wrong and they've always been wrong, that's pretty empowering, even if it's insane. So, mercifully, other than constant repeat on the, again, inexcusably misnamed History Channel, there isn't a lot of information on this idiot idea of the hollow moon. A fact which spared me this week from my usual many, many hours of angry rabbit holing. So that's the hollow moon theory, guys.
Boom. All right.
If you gotta believe in something, why not believe in that? Because unlike the God of the Bible, at least the moon shows itself on the regular.
Right, that's true. Although sometimes it's shy and hides.
It's shy.
What do
It's
we
a
got?
shy moon.
What do we got? A waxing gibbous right now? I don't know.
Well, you'd be shy if you were hollow too.
I waxed my gibbous on the way over here.
You should do it
Hey-o.
regularly. Well, thank you, Uncle Mark.
Yeah, thanks.
That was not at all enlightening. So let's move on.